Fans love it when rappers are really about that life, but NBA Youngboy is on a whole different level when it comes to keeping it real. He spent his whole life in and out of jail, from sliding on the ops and getting into shootouts, to running a drug ring while he was on house arrest. Today we're breaking down every case he's ever caught. Youngboy's legal drama started when he was 15 years old. His dad got hit with a 55-year sentence when Youngboy was a kid. It's not clear how it went down, but the Faders said that it was from a robbery gone wrong. Youngboy's mom moved out of their neighborhood after that, so Youngboy lived with his grandma and got active in the streets just like his dad. After Youngboy's grandma died, he moved in with his homie 3-3. 3-3's mom Monique took Youngboy in, but 3-3 and Youngboy were already getting into trouble because they wanted to make it in the rap game. Youngboy's mom tried to be a rapper back in the day, and Youngboy started writing songs when he was just 7 years old. 3-3 and Youngboy didn't have any money to pay for studio time though, so they started stealing the car batteries out of 18-wheelers to sell and use the money to record their own tracks. When Youngboy was 15 years old, he picked up his first robbery charge and got sent to juvie for 6 months. There were a lot of people trying to keep Youngboy out of the streets though. Back when he was in 6th grade, Youngboy was in a program for kids who might not graduate school, and that's when he met a counselor named Kyrie Garcia. Kyrie Garcia tried to help Youngboy out, and she even became his godmother after the program was over, but Youngboy still dropped out of high school in the 9th grade and never went back. Youngboy's fans know he ended up spending 2 years on house arrest in Utah, but most people don't know that Kyrie Garcia is the reason he was there. Kyrie Garcia had moved to Utah, and Youngboy went to visit her back in the day. It was the first time he had ever been on a plane or even left the South, and Youngboy went back a few times to visit Kyrie Garcia for Thanksgiving and Christmas. At one point, Youngboy was actually thinking about moving to Utah, but then he started popping off in the rap game and got even deeper in the streets. Youngboy started writing tracks while he was locked up in juvie, and when he came home, he dropped his first project, Life Before Fame. Back then, he was rocking with a crew in Baton Rouge called the Top Boy Gorillas, aka TBG. But there was drama behind the scenes that led to Youngboy catching an attempted murder charge. TBG had beef with another crew in the city called Bottom Boy Gorillas, aka BBG, and Youngboy's cousin Boozilla rep BBG. Youngboy and Boozilla weren't rocking with each other because of the TBG and BBG situation, and at one point, Boozilla allegedly wanted to kill Youngboy. The main rapper from TBG was a dude named G Money, and after Youngboy started beefing with TBG, G Money dropped the track Industry and rapped, "Pussy, you should be ashamed. I know what's up with you, nigga. I never fuck with you, nigga. I would've bust for you, nigga. I put my trust in you, nigga. Now I can't fuck with you, nigga. Had me looking for your cousin. He wanted to kill you." Youngboy started hanging with TBG through his homie Lil Herc, who is G Money's little brother. At first, G Money was like a mentor to Youngboy and taught him how to rap. But once Youngboy started taking his own career seriously, he felt like TBG wasn't really supporting him because they thought G Money had the most potential to blow up. So Youngboy decided to separate himself and started his own crew, Never Broke Again. But after Youngboy split off from TBG, he started rocking with Boozilla. Then on November 2nd, 2016, Boozilla was shot and killed. Rumors said that TBG wasn't involved with the hit, and it was actually some shooters from a crew called Forever Loyalty who pulled the trigger on Boozilla. Youngboy and his homies slid on the ops just a couple hours after Boozilla was killed, and they started shooting from their whip when they spotted the ops on the street. The ops started busting back though, and Youngboy's homie NBA Joe got hit in the neck. The cops found Youngboy a couple weeks later and hit him with 2 attempted murder charges. For a second it looked like Youngboy's whole career was going to be over before it even really started. But luckily he got a good deal and pled guilty to aggravated assault with a firearm and only spent a few months in prison. When Youngboy came back home, he dropped the track Untouchable and rapped, "Gotta maintain, stay on my grind, no I can't be no fool. Nah, I can't slip, nor can I fumble, gotta stick and move. Get out BR, move to LA, where I ain't gotta keep a tool. Surprise, but I knew my dreams coming true." It sounded like Youngboy wanted to switch up how he was moving and stay away from the streets and the legal drama. That's not how it went down though, and in 2018, Youngboy got hit with serious charges for assault, weapons violations, and kidnapping. Youngboy was on tour and was supposed to be performing at the Moon nightclub in Florida, but then his tour bus got stopped and the cops booked him for a warrant he had in Georgia. Youngboy had been staying in a hotel with his girlfriend Jania, and some other people called the cops because they heard Youngboy and Jania fighting. By the time the cops showed up, Youngboy and Jania were already gone, but the cops found blood inside their hotel room. And to make the situation even worse, the surveillance footage from the hotel leaked where Youngboy was putting hands on Jania. Jania went live and said that Youngboy and her were just playing, but the cops definitely didn't see it that way. Youngboy was facing some serious time for the assault and kidnapping charges, but he pretty much skated on the case when he pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor charge instead. Jania could have really jammed Youngboy up, but she told the cops she wasn't going to press charges. The cops tried to grill her about what went down, but Jania wouldn't give anything up and said she wouldn't testify if they took the case to trial. Without Jania's testimony, the prosecutors didn't really have a case, so Youngboy got off with just 12 months of probation and anger management classes. Just a few days before Youngboy got hit with a year of probation, a judge in Baton Rouge had ended Youngboy's probation for the aggravated assault, the firearm case he caught when he was sliding for Boozilla. Youngboy was all over the headlines for the wrong reasons, and in March 2019, the news broke that he was being sued by one of his bodyguards. In December 2018, NBA Youngboy and his homie Quando Rondo at a show in South Carolina, and a fan allegedly tried to snatch Youngboy's chain. The people who managed the place took Youngboy, Quando Rondo, and the rest of the team backstage to make sure there wasn't any drama. But then the situation got way crazier. According to reports, Quando and Youngboy wanted the bodyguard to go back on stage and put hands on the fan who tried to snatch Youngboy's chain. The bodyguard knew it was a bad idea and told him no. And that's when Quando and Youngboy allegedly jumped the dude. A video leaked where Youngboy and Quando were attacking somebody backstage at a show, but it was never confirmed if it was the same situation or not. The bodyguard said that he had a cracked tooth, bloody face, and injuries to his reputation after Youngboy and Quando Rondo put hands on him. But it's not clear how the lawsuit actually turned out. Youngboy didn't face any jail time for putting hands on the bodyguard, but just a few months later, his ops from Baton Rouge almost took Youngboy out. While Youngboy was blowing up in the rap game, the beef in Baton Rouge just kept getting crazier. G Money was shot and killed, and Youngboy's homie Lil Pap went down for the hit. Then TBG clapped back and allegedly killed Youngboy's manager, Big Dump. Boulevard Quick and Lit Yoshi were allegedly the ones who pulled the trigger on Big Dump, and their homie Fredo Bang took shots at Big Dump on the track Lot of Smoke when he raps, "Yeah, I put a nigga on his back. You heard me? You know I'm smoking on a fat nigga. You understand me? And we ain't dumping no ashes. You heard me?" Then Boulevard Quick got shot and killed, and Youngboy dissed him when he dropped the track Uncharted Love and raps, "Do the dirty work and fucking Timbs. We'll leave the mark above the rim. You was like my brother. Why the fuck you crossed that line? Blew that fat bitch mine before he tried. Not an army bigger that won't slay me, yo, I. Guns to your head, we let that smoke float to the sky." Boulevard Quick getting killed like that was a big loss for TBG, and his homie Lit Yoshi tried to clap back at NBA Youngboy. Youngboy was in Miami for Rolling Loud, and he let the ops know where he was and said, "You can be anything, we gonna put that iron on you." Lit Yoshi and some other shooters put up to Youngboy's hotel and started shooting when they spotted Youngboy outside. Youngboy's side started busting back, and an innocent dude tragically got caught up in a situation and died. Seeing an innocent dude die like that had a big impact on Youngboy, and after it went down, he said, "I wish they would have gotten me, not him." Youngboy was originally charged for the shooting, and the situation was looking bad for him, but then the charges got dropped. Youngboy was still on probation when the shooting went down though, and he violated his parole because he was hanging out with his homies Ben Fields and Boomer. According to the judge, Ben Fields and Boomer were both involved with the drive-by shooting Youngboy got booked for in 2016, and he wasn't supposed to be around them while he was on probation. Youngboy was originally facing 10 years in prison, but luckily he got off easy and only had to spend 90 days in jail and then go on house arrest. Fans were hoping Youngboy was going to switch up how he moved because he was always getting caught up in some wild drama, but that's not how it went down. And just a few months later, he caught the most serious charge of his life. In September 2020, Youngboy was shooting a music video and someone called the cops and said that Youngboy and his crew were waving guns around. The cops raided the spot where they were shooting the video and found a bunch of drugs and guns. When the cops showed up, everyone started running or trying to hide behind cars. Police searched a few vehicles at the scene and found some weed and Xanax pills packed in plastic bags, along with digital scales. They also found tons of handguns and rifles, including an AK-47. Some of the dudes they arrested were also carrying large amounts of cash, including Youngboy, who had $47,000 cash on him when they arrested him. Youngboy and 15 other people all got booked, but Youngboy bonded out fast. Youngboy was supposed to stay in Louisiana while he was on bail, but instead, he did the race and went to Los Angeles. The cops tracked him down and tried to pull him over, and that's when Youngboy hopped out and ran away on foot. The cops used dogs to find Youngboy though, and they booked him on more federal gun charges because there was a gun in his whip. It wasn't looking good for Youngboy, but in 2021, the judge let him out on a $1.5 million bond. Youngboy had 2 big cases hanging over his head though. In that same year, he moved to Utah to serve out his house arrest and wait for his other trials to start. The judge thought Utah would be a better place for Youngboy to serve his house arrest because he wouldn't be around any of his ops in Baton Rouge. The judge also knew about Youngboy's ties to his old counselor, Kyrie Garcia, and being close to her was supposed to help keep Youngboy out of trouble. In 2022, Youngboy scored a huge win after his federal gun case from Los Angeles was thrown out. He was still fighting the gun charge from Baton Rouge though, and then the case took a crazy turn. In 2023, news broke that some of the cops who booked Youngboy and his homies in Baton Rouge were arrested for putting hands on people and destroying evidence. According to paperwork, the cops who booked Youngboy arrested a dude and then used a stun gun on him while they were strip searching him at the police station. One of the cops punched the dude, then he pointed to another cop and said, "You see this guy here? He's about to knock the fuck out of you." And according to the prosecutors on the case, the cops had a secret torture warehouse where they would take people to beat, sexually abuse, and illegally strip search them. The cops are also accused of destroying evidence to hide what they were doing, and a lot of people thought Youngboy might catch a break in his case since he was booked by a bunch of dirty cops. Unfortunately, that's not what happened though, and Youngboy was kept locked up in Utah for years. Youngboy kept dropping music while he was locked up, but his lawyer said that being locked down for so long was having a big impact on Youngboy's physical and mental health. Bootleg Kev flew out to Utah in 2024 to interview Youngboy, and Youngboy told Bootleg Kev that his future was in jail.
I'm kind of set on going in jail right now, so I don't really think about too much.
It was clear that Youngboy wasn't feeling good about the situation, and his fans had no idea that it was about to get even worse. In April 2024, the cops in Utah raided Youngboy's crib and hit him with over 60 charges for possession of drugs, guns, and way more. According to the cops, Youngboy and his crew were running a large-scale prescription fraud ring and were calling in fake prescriptions to get drugs. The cops got tipped off by a pharmacy, and that's when everything began to fall apart. They started investigating Youngboy and his crew, and they caught some of Youngboy's family members picking up a fake prescription. They claimed Youngboy and his crew were calling up pharmacies, pretending to be doctors trying to order prescriptions for patients so they could get promethazine mixed with codeine, the main ingredient in lean. One of the pharmacies started to get suspicious after someone claiming to be a doctor called them to fill a prescription for a patient named Gwendolyn Cox, and they used the word axe instead of ask, which isn't normal in Utah. The pharmacist hung up and called the real doctor, who said he didn't have a patient with that name and never tried to fill a prescription. Two women in a white Chevy Tahoe also went to the pharmacy to pick up the prescription for a friend. The white Tahoe was registered to NBA Youngboy, which is how they started to connect everything to him. And what made the whole thing even worse is that the cops found a gun in Youngboy's crib and hit him with another case for that. Youngboy's house arrest was taken away and the cops took him back to Baton Rouge. Youngboy was still fighting his case from Baton Rouge at the same time, but his lawyers were trying to find a loophole to get him out of it. Youngboy was a convicted felon after he pleaded guilty to the drive-by shooting in 2016, and that's why he was facing so much time when the cops booked him on the gun case in Baton Rouge. Youngboy's lawyers were arguing that keeping Youngboy from having a gun violated his Second Amendment rights, and the judge in the case decided to wait until a couple of Supreme Court cases were settled. One of the Supreme Court cases was a wild trial about a dude named Zaki Rahimi. Rahimi wasn't supposed to have a gun because he had a restraining order against him from his ex-girlfriend, but Rahimi's lawyers were trying to argue that the gun ban went against Rahimi's rights. Back in 2019, Rahimi put hands on his girlfriend in the middle of a parking lot. Somebody saw it happen, so Rahimi pulls out a gun and started shooting at the witness. Then a few months later, Rahimi caught another charge for assault with a deadly weapon because he threatened a different woman with the gun. Rahimi obviously didn't need to be around guns, but nobody knew how wild the situation was about to get. Between December 2020 and January 2021, Rahimi was involved with 5 different shootings. He shot at a dude he was selling drugs to, then one day later, Rahimi shot at someone who ran into his car. Then 2 days after that, Rahimi started shooting into the air while there were a bunch of kids around. Rahimi wasn't done yet though. A few weeks later, someone flashed their headlights at Rahimi, so Rahimi followed them down the highway and started shooting into their whip. And in the last shooting, Rahimi went to a fast food place with his homie. Rahimi's friend's car got declined at the restaurant, so Rahimi grabbed his gun and started shooting into the air again. Youngboy's legal team thought if Rahimi beat his Supreme Court case, then they might be able to get Youngboy's charges thrown out. But Rahimi lost his case, so Youngboy still had to face his own gun charge in Baton Rouge. Youngboy was originally going to take it to trial, but then he decided to plead guilty, and it made the whole case easier for him to beat. Youngboy's federal gun case was moved to Utah instead of Louisiana after he pleaded guilty, and he caught a lucky break because he was able to enter a global plea for the Baton Rouge gun case and the Utah gun case too. Then he pleaded guilty to 4 felonies and 6 misdemeanors in the Utah drug case. Youngboy is facing a lot of time just for the drugs, but he caught a lucky break when the 4 felonies were all reduced to misdemeanors. Youngboy had been fighting so many cases that people were losing track of what was going on, and a lot of fans were worried he was about to catch decades in prison. Luckily, that's not how it went down though, and on December 10th, 2024, Youngboy was officially sentenced to 23 months in prison and 60 months of probation. 2 years in prison is no joke, but a celebrity lawyer named Bradford Cohen said that Youngboy would probably be out in less than 12 months. Bradford Cohen has worked with Kodak Black a lot and has helped Kodak skate on some pretty serious charges, and it's clear that Cohen knew what he was talking about. In January 2025, the news broke that Youngboy should be coming home in July 2025. Youngboy was recently transferred to Talladega FCI, a federal prison in Alabama, to serve the rest of his sentence. Even though he originally agreed to do 23 months, the judge gave him credit for time served through May 2024, which means his official release date is now set for July 27, 2025. There's a chance that Youngboy won't come straight home though, and he might have to spend some time in the halfway house first before the judge lets him out on probation. It's not clear when he'll be free to hop back in the booth and get his momentum back up, but hopefully he keeps his head down this time because he'll probably never get this lucky with a legal case again.